Hello guys, this is Gnorgout here, and today I wanted to bring you some replays for Virtual World that I had on Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. So the first one would be against Heroes, the second one against Virtual World, and in both games I went second. So a lot of you guys probably already know how you play going first with Virtual World, with making VFD. Maybe the follow-up isn't optimal, but you kind of have the general idea. But what does the deck do going second? That's what I wanted to show you. So for that I have two replays saved up for you. The first one was against Wolfie, which was a hero player. So let's get into the game and see how it goes. So this hero player decided to go first. So as you can see, we have the only going second card here is Ash Blossom. They go into Ferris immediately. So they go Ferris, and Ferris specials out the Increase. So Increase can tribute the Ferris to special itself from the Spell Trap Zone, and then as a separate effect, when it's special summoned from the Spell Trap Zone, you can special summon a hero from the deck. Now, this can be a big bottleneck for heroes. If you, for example, if you have a Cosmic Cyclone and you Cosmic the Increase, then or you have Chuche and pop it, then it doesn't get the effect and they don't special. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll just Ash Blossom here. Now, for the special summon effect. Now, that is a valid thing to do. However, I think, looking at how this game goes, I think I should have just waited with the Ash Blossom for the search of Mask Change. Because the only thing that heroes effectively can do against VW is like set up a Dark Law, which is really huge against you. And denying the Mask Change search would be really good here. Now, obviously, they could draw into the Mask Change anyway, so maybe just ashing the Increase was the correct play after all. But we see the hero player now go into Special Summoning, get out the Shadow Mist, which will then search out the Mask Change that we talked about. So they set 4, and then they use Malicious, get it out, and then they pass. So we know they have a Mask Change set. They have 3 other sets, and they also have the Destined Hero draw hand. So they can make go draw hand effect and then chain the Mask Change to get the Dark Law and then rip a card over hand. So our hand looks pretty decent. However, we know they're going to Dark Law. So here's the play I talked about. Mask Change draw hand, chain link 2, so the Dark Law gets onto the field before this triggers, and we have to discard. So obviously this card has a bit of RNG involved, and the draw hand then draws a card, they discard and get another search, and the Dark Law triggers and rips a card out of our hands. Now, the most important card in our hand going second is obviously the Kowloon, and the names you want to keep as well. So if they banish the Chuche, that is actually beneficial for us, because you will see in a second why. And Desires and Goods are also fine hits here. So they hit the Goods, and then they go get another search. Honest Neos, so we have to keep that in mind regarding our battle phase. So we start off with a Kowloon. Now, if you don't know how this interaction works, if Dark Law is on the field, every card that goes to the grave gets banished instead. So if we activate a Virtual World effect, if you read the card, send 1 Virtual World card from your deck to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon this card. So what happens if you activate the effect is the card gets banished, and the effect will not resolve completely because we did not send the card to the graveyard. So that means we can't really get on board when Dark Law is on field. We have to get rid of it somehow. So common playing into a board would be just Kowloon into Qinglong and then banish from the grave to negate, but we can't get a VW card in the grave, right? Because of Dark Law. So we went into Chuche, and because Dark Law is on the field, Kowloon will banish itself, which means we're already halfway there of having activated Chuche. Now what I do here is I activate the Lulu effect targeting the Chuche so that we just banish a card of our deck. It didn't matter which one, I just wanted to get the banish, and Lulu will stay in our hand, but we can normal summon it later on. So now we have the Chuche active, and we can pop the Dark Law. So now the only thing we have to play through is the 3 back row and the Honest Neos in the end. Now we go ahead and activate Li now that our graveyard is enabled again. Mill a Qinglong, special, mill Nian, and then we use the Qinglong to get our Lao Lao. we discard the Chuche, so we can use the grave effect later, and then we can use the Desires because we used our surge effects. Then, because what I like to do with BW going second is, if I know they have interaction, and especially unknown interaction, I want to make small pushes. So I just wanted to go into Vermilion to force out any of this back row. So I targeted the back row on the right, and they activated the impermanence to negate the Vermilion. That means that this card is worth more than an impermanence. So they go imperm. Note that this column is now disabled, so don't play anything into this. And the Vermilion Dragon Mech is negated. But that's fine, we can emergency teleport, get out a Nian. Nian as a non-tuner, and then the Nian in the grave triggers. And then, for whatever reason, they chain the super polymerization at this point already. Now, we know why they impermed now, because super polymerization is a very potent card, because heroes can fuse with any element. But for some reason, I think they just wanted to deny the synchro with the two Nians. That's why they fused away the Neon on board. But that's totally fine by me. I just wanted to go into Coral Dragon or Juju to get rid of another interaction on their side of the field. So either way, it worked out for me. But now I have the free tuner as well. They have the board, and they also get the Liquid Soldier effect, which will, I think, draw them 2 cards and discard 1. Yeah, discard a called by. So now we can go the Lalo play, which is the other effect that they didn't use. We go into Lily. So now we can overlay those 2 and go into Fan, because I don't really care about the monsters here. I can somehow deal with them, but the back row, I don't know what it is, and it could hurt me. So I want to do a Fan and banish. But I think, no, Fan is only face-up cards anyway, right? So, but yeah, I could have made an rank 6, so it's M7 or Fan anyway. So I thought, okay, I could go M7 and bounce something, or I could go Fan to also get rid of something in the graveyard, for example, an increase that they can't use later. So Fan effect, banish the Mist, and they go Draw Blood, which is their last interaction, which will also reduce the attack of my monster. So that's it. Then I use the Jianwu, banish, go into Lili, discard, and synchro those 2 into Shen. Because we know we can't OTK, I wanted to get the Shen online and also get another banish here. We have 3 banish now for Chuchi in their turn, and we can also use Shen to, for example, get rid of the resources here on board. Now, this is half, so this won't do much, but we do have, first of all, Neon effect, obviously, shuffle back the face down banish card, but we have Gaia charges, so you can like forego the attack reduction by just slapping a Gaia on top. We know they have Neos, so what we do is we attack here and we use Shen effect, and so we force the Neos out, because if they don't Neos, we can go into Zeus here. So we do this, put Neon back because it's a resource. They are forced to Neos here, goes to the grave, and then with Shen I attack to get rid of that. I actually could have played around a second Neos in hand, or is that hard once per turn? Oh, it's hard once per turn, so it doesn't matter. So I just attack to get rid of the resource here, but they get the increase back, which I didn't consider at the time. But we are left with 2 level 9s here. I could just go into VFD and then Zeus, but I think I'm just going to go VFD, because VFD, Chuche, plus all the follow-up I have, they chain the increase on the summon of VFD, which then would special summon a monster from the deck if it's special, right? So I can just chain the True King, which won't negate the spell trap effect, but will negate the on-field effect. So I just detach, call Dark because it's heroes, and then special the increase, but they can't use the other effect. So now it's their turn again, and I think I shotgun the VFD here because they have monsters on board. I don't have to be scared about Gamma. I call Dark, and they go Rhoda. Get another Shadow Mist, set 1, and pass. End phase, I used Chuche just to use the effect this turn. I can set it up next turn anyway, so it's better to just get rid of some monsters so I can now go for the OTK. Now, I don't have True King material anymore, so I cannot call Light for Nibiru, but it's very unlikely that the card in hand is Nibiru. I could also check if I pop this face down card and it's a Shadow Mist, then I still don't know what this is, but if this is not a Shadow Mist, then I will know that the card in hand is a Shadow Mist because they just searched it. So I just go for the other Chuche to pop the other card, use GG, dump the Qinglong, trigger the Nian that we put back in the grave last turn. Then we use Chuche to increase the level, because now we can go into Cloud Castle, which will then bring back our Vermilion Dragon Mech to pop the face down card. And Neon is also chained to recycle some more face down banished cards. So now we banish, pop, it's the Shadow Mist, and we turn the VFD into attack and they know what's up, this is lethal. Alright, now for the second replay, we are playing a mirror match and we lost the coin flip. So VFD, obviously huge, but there are some small nuances that I wanted to show in this video. Alright, so opening hand, we don't have a hand trap, so that's already bad. I was hoping they're not on Drytron, so when I saw the GG I was thinking, oh okay, weird. Now I have to compete with a VFD and I have no hand traps. And luckily I see though that the only hand effect they have at this point is Lao Lao, so they cannot make extremely good boards because they cannot get the resurrection effect here. So they use the Lao Lao, ditch the Qinglong, get the Lao Lao, use Qinglong to get Lulu, discard another Qinglong, and then they use Lulu, ditch a trap, special this, grab the Kowloon for Chuche access, use the Kowloon. At this point they know I don't have any hand traps, so they can just freely go off. So they synchro summon here into Croco, because I guess they want to find another name because they still have a GG and a Lily left. So they draw here and they activate Lily. Now I don't know if this is the Lily they drawn. I think the hand kind of sorts automatically, but they might have top decked a Lily here. Now they will use the Lily effect, get rid of Chuche, special, get rid of another card, synchro into Shen Shen. Then they will use these two, make the VFD, and I think they pass turn here. Now, as you can see here, a big mistake is they did not set up the Chuche. Now, how could I have set up the Chuche? The level modulation of the Chuche engrave they couldn't have used because they would have to reduce the Shen Shen or increase it, and then you can't make VFD. So that wasn't possible, and then the material on board was Lily and Lulu, which they both summoned from hand, so that's not possible. So they should have used Shanwu to resurrect anything, discard a card, and then they would have set up Chuche. However, maybe they have two hand traps and they didn't want to discard and they think this is good enough. So let's see how this goes here. So they shotgun the VFD here, and that's a crucial part of this game. So they shotgun VFD without having Chuche set up, without having any gate, so you don't want to really, you want to wait for your opponent to summon something, basically. Because if they waited, they could have called something else and then probably would have won the game. But they just called Dark here, I think. So we go for Kowloon, and I notice a delay. So I was thinking, okay, it's Max C or Ash Blossom. They let us go through, and at that point I knew it was Max C, which they will also show us now. So we have to play through Max C. So what do we do against VFD? With Max C, I wanted to check if there's an Ash, so I went for Pot, and also we didn't have anything in the deck anyway that we needed. We have the Chuche out, so I wanted to see if we find more names. Now activate Lulu, search another name that we needed. They draw a card. We go Qinglong. I used Qinglong to get another card banished. So I banished the Kowloon, just like this effect doesn't matter, but I want to get another card banished. So I banished the Qinglong, discard the Nian. Now I have two set up, and I can just pop the VFD. Because my plan was I have to get rid of the VFD so they can't VFD lock me again, but I also have to get rid of the Chuche during their turn before they set it up properly. So I have to use the Chu-Che in my turn. That's why I used the Qinglong on the field to just get a random banish. Now, I am still under max C, so I was thinking, what do I do? They don't have the Chu-Che set up. So I was thinking I'm just gonna go VFD them myself, because now I know what deck they are, and now I can call the correct attribute. So I get the Nian here, I increase the level of the GG, go into Shenshen, draw another card. I was always checking for delays at this point, so I can properly alter my plays. Send a trap, get this back. They are living in card advantage right now, but what can you do? So, as you can see, I did not activate the Croc effect because I was feeling a delay here, and I was thinking, okay, if that's Gamma, I go for Croc, and they Gamma the Croc, then I don't have the body. So I didn't activate it, and at this point, card advantage is not a thing anymore. It's VFD or bust. So obviously they could Gamma the VFD, but can also wait. Because they didn't set up the Chu-Che, they cannot force the VFD. So I could technically wait for them to commit a monster, and then they cannot Gamma my VFD. That was the plan. So I pass, and it's the opponent's turn. Now the opponent has a bunch of cards to work with. So let's see what they do here. They go for Shenshen. So that's what I wanted to wait for. So I was like, okay, they have Shenshen here. If they were smart, they could have used Shenshen to banish for cost and then chain the Chu-Che targeting my VFD, which will then force me to use the VFD, and then they could chain the Gamma on hand if they had one. So that's another critical mistake for my opponent. Now they have a monster on board and can just go. Oh, they unsummon, they activate Chu-Che targeting the VFD. So a little bit too late, I activate the VFD in response, and they will chain Itile for whatever reason. And here I was saying, okay, I'm gonna use the Chu-Che here so that Chu-Che won't resolve because it's a continuous trap and it won't pop my VFD, so I can use it again during my turn or during my opponent's next turn, depending on how big of a board they build. So shuffle 2 back. Nia and Chu-Che, usually the best ones. Banish theirs. This resolves. And they summon Lulu from hand because they cannot use... Oh, important detail. I called Wind with VFD. Why? Because that shuts them off of Lulu, which is the most important one, but also shuts them off of Lao Lao, which gives them 2 bodies at once. So the big thing here is shutting off the Lulu, because that means they cannot get the Chu-Che, which is the interaction that basically works under VFD. So Chu-Che, the one interaction, and the other one is hand traps, which I have no control of. So calling Wind here is to deny the Chu-Che, the other Chu-Che I popped. So that was planning ahead. Yeah, they go main phase 2. And I think they're just trying to wall up here. They use tactics to look at my hand and then shuffle the GG back. Yeah, drawing 2 wouldn't have made sense, and then taking control of something also because the VFD effect was already used. I think they could have detached the material, wouldn't have mattered anyway. So they thought, okay, they have hand advantage, so the only thing they have to do is deny me the OTK. So they just looked at my hand and took the best follow-up play away. Looking into the grave, we also don't have a Qinglong, but we can handle that somehow. Alright, our turn again. Draw a card, teleport. It's decent, so what we do here is we detach for calamities. I see this hand and I know, okay, I can OTK through this. The only thing that could stop me is a Nibiru, so I detach and call light. They chain another max C. So I was like, okay, draw your whole deck, I will still OTK at this point. Because you don't have nib, so if you can't nib me, you can't gamma me, I don't care. So, before I synchro summon, I wanted to use Chu-Che to pop the Shenshen, because I might go into Juju depending on what hand traps they have. Also, I have the Janwu in grave, and if I synchro those and they get banished, I cannot use the Janwu. And the Janwu is actually the way to get my Qinglong into the grave at this point. So I go and pop the Shenshen first. Then I go synchro. into Coral Dragon. So Coral Dragon, also a way to get the Xinglong Grave and also destroy a body on board. Discard the Xinglong. They ash the Xinglong. So I was like, okay, I cannot search Lulu here, but I can still do the following. I can use the Zhanwu to get my Nian back. And with these two, I can synchro. And if I draw a name, perfect, I can continue playing. If I don't, I should still, if they don't have another hand trap, I'll decay here, because they draw another card, whatever. We go into Vermilion Dragon Mech. They draw, Coral Dragon draws one. We drew a name actually, but it didn't really matter. I banished the Coral Dragon to pop, use Shenshin Effect and Grave, banish 2, special it back. And as you can see, this is 8,000 damage. They have all the cards in the world, 12 cards left in deck, but it doesn't matter. You just go for game here. And they realize this is lethal and concede. So that was the second last game before Plat 1. The last game was Sky Striker, so just free matchup, and they also weren't really like that good, so not worth showing that to all of you. But hope you guys enjoyed the replays, hope you learned something. If there's something you think I could have done better, let me know. I'm also still learning some things, many things to learn at Virtual World, right? So see you guys next time.